Thursday, the 11th of January 2024. This is your Frontier Opening Bell. Welcome to the show, everyone. Let me just walk you through the trading day for a couple of markets we cover on a daily basis for you. With the Nigerian market down very sharply, 1.4%. On Wednesday, despite gains that we saw in Dangote Cement and Boa Foods PLC, the banks lost a bit of their shirt, as well as big names such as Telco with MTN down on the day. The Nigerian market pulled back on the day that the central bank conducted its first Treasury bills auction in the new year. Yields dropped on the 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day papers sharply across the board. It's the first the central bank allotted about 57 billion naira. Bidding subscription was just very hefty, above 100 billion naira plus. But take it away from Nigerian market, the Ghana markets open up for the new year, but it's still in the doldrums in the manner of speaking. Everyone's keeping an eye on how soon Ghana will be able to finish that deal with China and a few other official creditors and get this lifeline that is expected from the World Bank and the IMF. The BRVM composite fell for the second day by 11 basis points. The Egyptian market off track by 0.5%. The Nairobi stock market back in the green by 30 basis points, where the Johannesburg Stock Exchange fell about 0.75%. But a very positive trading day in Zimbabwe, with the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, the ZSE, up more than 1% Wednesday. That's midweek trading actions. Let's see what today brings. No one knows, but let's see what the trading day, how it plays out. So let's get on to the top stories from Eastern and Africa, and quite a bit of news headlines to deal with, because Rwanda is looking to grow by 7% this year and being ranked the first within the East African community, taking the shine out of the big brother. That's the Kenyan economy. The Kenya's latest treasury bond, however, pulls bids worth about 37.15 billion shillings. That came through midweek. That came from the treasury auction on the marketplace. The January bond that the Kenyan authorities is seen cruising past 18% for this year due to still some pressure that the shilling faces against the US dollar. And Uganda is looking to spend about 23 trillion shillings on debt financing in full year 2024 and 2025. And that plays into my next story, which is about what Moody's Investors Services service released on Wednesday as far as its sovereign outlook for Africa is concerned. And that story is coming up because Moody's says African sovereigns have a negative outlook because they've got a lot of debt maturities this year, and the cost of financing those debts will weigh very heavily on those economies in sub-Saharan Africa. But then when we go to Nigeria and West Africa, you've got a punch out of the blues. Yesterday afternoon, the Central Bank of Nigeria sacked the board and management team of 4 commercial banks: Titan Trust, Polaris Bank, Keystone Bank, and Union Bank, which is listed on the Nigerian exchange. Later in the evening, the Central Bank announced a new team that will run the affairs of 3 of those banks: Union, Keystone, and Polaris Bank, a 2-man team. MD, CEO, and of course an executive director each will run 3 of those separate financial institutions. We're seeing how things are pacing out this morning. It's all part of the rollout of the investigation of the central bank itself. For the first time in Nigeria's history, that the central bank itself is being investigated, and banks being supervised by the central bank also being taken to the cleaners. And this is part of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's anti-corruption and financial misappropriation onslaught that is carrying out, which he promised when he took office back on the 29th of May, 2023. 6 months in the saddle, and the president is kicking off the new year, firing on all fours, on all cylinders, as it were, in the banking system. And that we're seeing also some government officials being put into detention as we speak, answering questions from the anti-graft agency. But that's where we stand this morning. Cadbury got some good news. The share up at 9% yesterday on the news that this food giant is swapping. They're asking the shareholders to approve a swap of $7.7 million debt, which is owed Cadbury Schweppes overseas United Kingdom, for equity in the bank. So about 400 million ordinary shares thereabout will be offered to Cadbury Shares of the UK to increase the stake in the Nigeria's operations and clear that debt and turn it into equity. Some good deals. Investors love that kind of arrangement. And there's going to be a clear room for Cadbury to move forward as the company faces FX pressure in Nigeria, with the exchange rate running about 1,082 to the dollar at the official window on Wednesday. Let's move on. Moody's, I just talked about the Sub-Saharan Africa sovereign negative for the continent. That report, 15-page paper, is on the wire, and you can read that up on Frontier Africa Reports. And if it's Ghana's inflation, very good news for Nana Akufo-Addo and his team, from 26.4% in November to 23.2%. Last month, that is clearing the way. Good news, as Ghana expects to get that $1.2 billion support from the IMF, the World Bank, next month. And Senegal is reporting its economic activities for November up just about 0.5%. Let's take it up to Southern Africa and see what's the headlines that South Africa is preparing a bill to establish a state-firm holdco, which will be a holding company for state-owned enterprises, as President Ramaphosa and his team try to rejig the entire operations of South Africa, put it in a better shape, as the Mr. President and the ANC, the ruling party, prepares for major deciding elections in April. Meantime, South Africa is facing a fiscal deficit of about 347 billion rand in the 2023-2024 financial year. How to deleverage that between now and April and look really good to voters is what President Ramaphosa and his team are head-scratching about right now. Moody's, however, raised its outlook for airports company South Africa to unstable from negative. And that's some good news that the administration in Pretoria could use. De Beers in Botswana says they've got additional $1 billion investment for one of the mines, diamond mines in Botswana, while Total Energies is raised its stake in Namibian oil discovery. Those are some of the headlines for you from Southern Africa. Let's take it all up to North Africa, where it all started with the World Bank cutting Egypt's full year 2023-2024 GDP growth forecast to 3.5%. Well, that's not so much good news for President El-Sisi's administration, while Tunisia says 1.2% of GDP growth is seen for this year and 3% growth each for 2023 and 2024 and 2025 period. Egypt's reporting annual inflation slowing to 33.7% in December. Let's see what the new year will look like starting this month. The Morocco Statistics Agency reporting growth for the North Africa's big economy at about 3.3% in the new year, which is 11th day into that 2024 period right now. And those are your headlines, everyone. I am Bosi Have a great day. I'll see you soon.